we were going to do this tour. We announced this tour 2 days before Charlie was killed. And then the question was raised by basically everybody, do we still do this tour? And I know how I felt, and I know how you felt. It's not exactly how my husband felt. But we're here, and it's more important right now to be here than ever.
100%. I mean, the best way to honor Charlie's legacy is to actually be out here, to doing this, to be unafraid, to not back down. I think, yeah, thank you. I know I was supposed to do something with him literally the week after that, and as you mentioned sort of in the intro, I met Charlie, I think he was 19 or just turned 20, and it was 2015 at the beginning of that cycle, and a couple friends of mine actually from Texas were like, you have to meet this guy, he's great, he's charismatic, and he knows everything about politics. I'm like, wow, that sounds great, because no one here knows anything. Yeah, I've told you this before, but it was like when they were like, you're colluding with Russia. I'm like, guys, if you knew what was going on in that campaign, like, we couldn't collude to order a cheeseburger, okay? So, like, relax.
Slow your roll.
Relax, Adam Schiff, like, give me a break. But, they're going on and on about how great this guy is, and they're like, okay, well, he's, he just turned 20. I'm like, okay, enough. Like, stop.
We're good.
If there's one thing we had no shortage of, it was guys that didn't know what the hell they were doing. We didn't need someone else who also didn't know what the hell they were doing. But these guys were persuasive, and I sat down, and in 5 minutes, I was like, oh.
Describe that Charlie versus the Charlie we knew before he was taken from us.
Honestly, it was the same. You just knew it was a generational talent. I don't know much, but I think, if there's one thing I've probably proven to be fairly decent at in the last decade or so is sort of just understanding talent. And I recognized it in an instant. I mean, it was literally 5 minutes. I'm like, okay, interview's over. Like, you're traveling with me. And, he spent the next, 6-7 months. It was everything. I mean, he'd be making calls. I mean, I have great pictures of Election Day 16. And I think it was close to like 75 radio interviews. And we were just sort of moving east to west as the polls were shutting down. I'm, screaming at Sean Hannity, be like, just get me on in Western Florida because there's a time difference there and I can still get a couple people to the polls because, whatever wasn't showing up. And, Charlie was basically just in the background operating, my Twitter and other social media handles from my desk in my office as I'm going through this. And it was just such an amazing experience. But again, he perhaps got better, but he was always so good. He was just going to be better than everyone else anyway. It didn't take much maturation. He just always had it.
In the past couple of years, Don, you've been subpoenaed and investigated more than any human on earth. So is your family. So is your dad. Your dad, they tried to throw him in prison, not to mention the impeachments and all the investigations and the civil lawsuits. And then on top of that, they actually tried to kill him repeatedly.
Twice, yeah.
Yeah. You saw your dad get shot in the ear. You saw 3 of his supporters get shot, one of whom died, two others of whom got shot as well. And then Charlie got shot and killed and taken from us. This is your life over the past couple of years. How has that changed you?
Honestly, it's hard. I mean, there's an element, I guess, I got some of that Trump gene that it just makes you sort of go harder. It's not normal. It's not always...
It's not normal.
It's not normal. It's not always good. I have that for better or worse. I think, I've been more subpoenaed than probably just about any human being, and our family certainly has. I think I've done more hours of congressional testimony, for treason, right? I mean, a crime punishable by death. That became like my average Tuesday. It's like, they're gonna try to kill you again, Don. I'm like, okay, it's fine. It's like, can I catch lunch first?
Most of us are like, I gotta get those Halloween decorations up. It's coming. I'm on deadline.
Yeah, no, it was my lawyer's like, you're the greatest witness ever. It's like, it's not because I'm actually good at it. I've just done it so much. Eventually, you're going to develop some sort of talent for it. I mean, it's
Do you miss it a little?
Not that so much. No, but not that. But it was interesting, right? I think, at the end of each one of these election cycles, and now, 3 presidential cycles, and then 6 midterm cycles, you combine them all, or whatever it may have been. There was a time, sort of at the end of 16 especially, and at the end of 20, you're in the throes of it. And I think it was October 2020. I think I did 104 rallies that month. So that's 4 a day. And I don't mean like, a lunch or a breakfast. I mean like, 300 to 10,000 people in a room 4 times a day, 31 days straight. And it's sort of brutal. And at the end of it, you're like, I just sort of want to be done with it. 16 especially, right? Because I got sucked out of like the world in which I lived, real estate, and I was, behind a desk or on a job site, and I was like, sort of want to go back to that. And for about a week, it was great.
And you were non-controversial before all this too. Like,
Yeah, no, I mean,
Trumps were beloved.
And not the same level. It was, before that, no, it was awesome. I could live in New York City. I got invited to the cool person parties. That all went away. But no, honestly, but there was a component of that was also cathartic, right? It was that obligatory lunch you all do with some friend you haven't seen in 10 years, but you do it once every other year. You go and you're like, why am I here? We don't really stay in touch. And it's like, you'd see all these people and they'd text you like, I love what you're doing. And you're like, oh, wow, that's great. And then you like look on their Facebook pages and you're like, Trump's a terrorist, he's a Nazi. So I'm like, I hate these people so much. I'm like, well, which one is it?
Good to know.
Because you can't be my friend and also do that. Like, you can disagree with me politically. I mean, I had friends that didn't agree with a lot of what we were doing, but they'd still like, I'm writing a check to your campaign because I just believe in you, and even if we don't agree on much politically, like, you're still a friend. And like, those guys are great. Those guys were...
You can handle the honesty.
Yeah, that I can deal with. It was the guys like clout chasing on one side and then kissing your ass on the other. Mm-hmm. That I didn't appreciate.
But I wonder, because you talk about the gene, you've got the gene, and it is a crazy gene, it's a great gene. And I really have been thinking about this a lot because now at this point in my life, I think a lot about how do we handle trauma? Like, what's the best way of handling trauma? And I really have come over to my husband's Presbyterian way of just shoving it down. Yeah. I really do believe, honestly, like leaning into your traumas, and they call it ruminating, is very bad for you. We were raised by Oprah and we were raised by wolves. Like, she misled us. The Trump gene is the way.
Well, yes and no, right? I was sort of getting there before, and I sort of ramble, but you get there and it feels normal, but you also then suppress all of it, and it's just like, it doesn't matter, put it aside, go back and fight. Doesn't matter, put it aside, go fight.
Like literally, in your dad's case, in the moment where the bullets are still flying.
Correct, and we all sort of did that to some extent, him more than anyone, but then you go back and I have 5 young kids, and kids, they have some sort of problem. I'm like, well, they're literally trying to jail me. They're trying to shut down our businesses. They just tried to kill Grandpa. Like, it's just, whatever they're going through is still a big thing for them, but you can't even think of it as a big thing because it's like, give me a break. It's nothing, but it's big for them. And so you definitely put a lot of that sort of emotion aside. It's like you've just been a beast in a cage, prodded for a while, that you'd sort of adjust to that normalcy, but it makes it actually very hard to be sensitive to other people's ideas and emotions.
Of that movie Free Solo. Did you see the movie Free Solo?
Yeah, 100%.
Did you guys see this? I saw it on an airplane once, where the guy
I used to do a little bit of free climbing, so yeah, I have that underdeveloped sense of self-preservation, and
Yes.
pretty much I'm a pilot. I do the Trimax diving.
So this guy's like climbing mountains, the most dangerous mountainsides in the world, without any suspension, without any rope whatsoever, and it's extremely dangerous. And they talk in that film about how you can kind of burn out your adrenal gland.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a good thing.
Or it's already underdeveloped, so it takes that much more stimulus to actually get any sort of excitement out of life. And that's what it was like. So after 16, you work so hard, you sort of become like, I mean, there's something cool about being pseudo rock star, right? You're on a stage and people are loving it, and you sort of feel like, wow, I'm actually decent at this. This is kind of cool. So, but you get like, I got to go back to my regular life. I'm so over this. And like 2 weeks back at a desk, and I was like, yeah, no, this isn't going to work for me anymore. No, I was like borderline depressed. Like, I was like, this sucks. I literally just remade my whole life after that and stayed more involved in this, and just it was sort of game changing. So what I thought was sort of like going to be my destiny for the rest of my career, it was like, yeah, no, that's not going to work. Like, I literally would not be able to be satisfied sitting at a desk and doing that forever anymore. And so it changed everything.
Well, that leads me to my next line of inquiry, which is any Trump going to be running for office at any point soon?
This is always the trick question, right? Because if you say no, then you decide to do something at another stage in life. I appreciate the applause, and someone said, a bunch of friends sent me a poll last week. It's JD and I are the only guys in double digits. I'm like, I haven't really been out there all that much
But
for it.
you're
I'm doing
the
business.
heir.
But it's still, well, who knows? Honestly, the heir is whoever deserves it, really. You know what I mean? There's not an heir. Contrary to what we've seen, this isn't a monarchy, right? Like, I know they like doing the whole no kings thing and dressing up like, Bozo the Clown, and I think that's supposed to be effective. I don't know. It doesn't seem to move the needle much for me, but, it also is sort of ironic that they're talking about not having kings with a president that was elected in a landslide, won the Electoral College, won the popular vote, won all 7 swing states in a historic fashion. Before that, actually left office. I mean, he's like a really shitty king, actually. I mean, if he's a king, he's doing a lousy job, because a king wouldn't have done that. A king wouldn't have allowed himself to be prosecuted and persecuted and almost jailed, almost assassinated. A king probably wouldn't allow those protests to happen. And if he was a king, the government would be open and not shut down by Democrats who want to make sure that we're funding health care for illegals.
That's right.
But,
So is
the narrative, as we all know, the narrative doesn't always have to line up with reality.
Was that a long way of saying no?
You have to see.
So not never.
No, but not now. But
not now, but not never.
There may be a time, and if it's required of me, and I can do that for my country, it's an honor. The fact that I have this kind of reaction is.
Yeah.
Oh. Thank you. But no,
Okay.
Listen, just that kind of reaction, like that's sort of. I mean, that's the greatest honor I could receive, right? So it means a lot to me, and I see that, and it's. I don't know that I have the ego, actually, which is ironic. I understand coming from Trump. But there is like a level of hubris you actually need to be president. I think that I'm like, I don't know. I'm just a regular guy. I fight to get where we want to go, but after that, I'm okay going in the background. But what was so great about the last 4 years under Biden was it's actually what we needed as a country for everyone to understand how fragile our democracy is, how fragile the republic really is, how fragile even our economy is, and how the world really needs a strong America. And so it wasn't just the first 4 years of Trump that showed us that. It was how quickly it all disappeared and went away that woke up so many people. But in that, there was a sort of component of trial by fire. Not just for the American people who got it and experienced it because you saw it with your own eyes every day, but for those in the cabinet now, for those who were able to be fighters and were subject to the same lawfare and whatever. So now we actually, for the first time in modern history, we have a bench. We have a bench of guys that can do this, and if I'm part of that, that's an honor. But it's not like, even in after the first term, you're like, well, man, who's next? It wasn't going to be Mike Pence. Mike Pence was perhaps like a necessary thing to sort of consolidate other parts of the Republican base that are like, well, this guy from New York, how do we make this happen? How does, perhaps I don't want to say necessary evil, but like you sort of needed.
No, he made sense at the time.
It made sense at the time, but it was never going to be the future of the party, right? Like that was never real. And now it's great to be like to see a JD and to see, honestly, Marco's done a great job.
Marco's a star too.
And more importantly, they're guys that aren't just sort of playing a role on TV. They've actually changed their worldview to understand that sort of America first, MAGA, however you want to look at it, is actually the future of the Republican Party. They're not guys that are dying to go back to the old ways and playing a role. They actually believe it. They get it now. And that's incredible for the future of our country.
Buy gold and get free silver. That's right. For every $5,000 purchased from Birch Gold Group this month in advance of Veterans Day, they will send you a free patriotic silver round that commemorates the Gadsden and American flags. Look, gold is up over 40% since the beginning of this year, and Birch Gold can help you own it by converting an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. Plus, they'll send you free silver honoring our veterans on qualifying purchases. And if you are current or former military, Birch Gold has a special offer just for you. They are waiving custodial fees for the first year on investments of any amount. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, consider diversifying your savings into gold. Text MK to the number 989898 for a free info kit and to claim your eligibility for free silver with qualifying purchase before the end of the month. Again, text MK to the number 989898. Message and data rates may apply. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.